when you're walking through hell, keep walking. Hi everyone, this is Aries Moon Girl, and this is me coming back to you finally after a long time with a very important video. If you are a long subscriber of this channel, maybe you've noticed that I've been missing for a while and you just think I've been slacking or not being here. Well, this is part one of my Saturn confession. I've not been on here due to some medical reasons, some personal reasons, some health issues. Luckily, this is all heading towards an end and I'm happy to be back here. And I'm here actually to talk about Saturn, but not only Saturn, to talk about the transits that impact our lives the most, and to talk about the topic that maybe some of you that are on my channel have experienced over the past years, and those are the hardest transits in the zodiac. The transits that I'm referring to are Saturn transits, Pluto transits, and more unknown to many, Black Moon Lilith transits. So how is this video gonna go? First, I'm gonna go into some of the signs that were recently impacted by these transits, because I know many of you are actually my subscribers. From the signs that I see always commenting, I can come here and consciously talk to those that have been impacted by it. Then I'm gonna go into each one of the transits. So we're gonna start with Saturn, we're gonna go to Pluto and Black Moon Lilith, and I'm gonna tell you how each one of these planets is differently impacting your life and what you should be doing in order to troubleshoot it. While you're caught in the midst of it, while you're caught unfortunate events that many times come with these three planets, what can you do to free yourself from it or to use them in order to accomplish what the mission of that transit is? And then I'm going to talk a bit general about where these three planets are now and what do they impact at the collective level and what we should be all working towards solving. We can call them the three dark teachers of the zodiac, and these are Pluto, Saturn, and Black Moon Lilith. And maybe you've heard that Saturn brings karma, Pluto brings transformation, and Black Moon Lilith brings some sort of rebellion. There's a lot more to that. And I'm gonna talk to the people that have been through it recently. And these people are Pisces, like me, that have been going through the Saturn transit for the past 2.5 years. I'm gonna go into what that means. But if you're a Pisces, drop me a note down below if you felt any of the things that I'm gonna go through. We have Aquarius, who's been lucky enough to go through the Saturn transit while we were in the pandemic, and at the same time, once that finished, they entered their Pluto transit. So Aquarius, I really need to hear from you guys how you have experienced the past 5 years, and then mostly a focus on the past 1 year or so when Pluto has fully taken over your sign. Capricorns before that, so before 23, Capricorns have been going through it, through Pluto, for 16-17 years. So Capricorns know the best. Actually, I would really ask them to talk to us and tell us more. And for Black Moon Lilith, I'm gonna talk to Scorpios now. They've been dealing with this year, and Libras have been dealing with it last year. So these signs, which I know many of my subscribers are within the signs, know a bit about what I'm going to talk about, but maybe didn't know why the things that are happening to them. But any personal experiences that you want to share on here, and at one point I will share my full experience once this is kind of finalized. I'm an Aries moon, so Saturn is gonna go through Aries, my Aries placement as well. But once it's out of Pisces, I'm gonna fully conclude the revelations that came from Pisces. But I'll give you some hints in the upcoming analysis of what does Saturn bring in our life. So Saturn is the great teacher, the architect, the planet of time and consequences. When Saturn transits one of your personal planets, which usually you feel it the most with Sun, Moon, and your rising sign, you're gonna feel it. Things will get heavier, responsibilities will pile up, you will start things shaking down. Anything that's built on a foundation that's not clean, that's not strong enough, anything where you did half work in developing your self, sun, your body, your environment with your rising sign, or your emotional world, it's gonna start collapsing. And things will start, once you have the Saturn transits, what you could before handle feels like 10 times heavier. That's the feeling. So that was my feeling through the past 2.5 years. Things have become so hard and so much dragging. Because I am a Pisces rising, there were a lot of health impacts, which some of them are still happening, but it was a lot of what I didn't pay attention to. With my Pisces sun, there were career challenges, responsibilities at work, more, and because there are areas in each one of our charts that we work more on. So in my work, I feel I've done a better job at building strong foundations than I did with my health. So the impact was stronger on my health in this case. I have another friend, she has a Pisces moon, and while it was going through her Pisces moon, she just felt an overwhelming feeling of sadness, or that she hasn't accomplished what she wanted with her life, and she felt absolutely lost. So any weakness, this is the planet that comes to you like a master, anywhere where you're not putting in the work, or you've built it halfway through, you didn't build a strong foundation, and it starts punching. It's like a Karate Kid type of training. It starts really picking on those moves or those areas that you haven't fully developed, or you might be even cocky about. You might say, oh, my career is fine, my relationship is fine, health is fine, and then Saturn comes around. Although it starts while it's in the sign before, you can start feeling some of the things, but when it comes around, it comes with a force, and it kind of tears down anything that you haven't built properly. So your life slows down. As I said, it feels heavier. You don't know how and when it will stop. It's like you're continuously challenged. Like you feel like, okay, when will this stop? Why is this happening to me? If you don't know about Saturn. If you don't know about Saturn, and if you don't know that that's a time where you need to work through things and improve them, or if you don't even know that that's the area of your life where you haven't put in the enough work, you should just follow the signs. So if you're starting to feel physically unwell when it's on your rising sign, there are some areas of your life that that you have ignored. Or if you start having career issues, then there are some areas in your career that you haven't worked on. So you need to steadily just do the right thing one after the other. While you're going through Saturn, there's no escaping it, there's no winging it, there's no ignoring it and running away from the responsibilities. None of that is happening. And if you don't face it front on, if you're not putting in the work front on, and with Saturn, it's a very honest front on. You need to do the right thing. It's always the right thing. There's no shortcuts. There's always the right step that you need to take. Integrity, care, hard work, responsibility. All of that is the only thing how you can pass through that period of time that's going through your life. It feels like an emotional winter. You might feel lonely, a bit more depleted, a bit lower energy also. You're not shining or happy or like you were before. Feels like a type of punishment. Some people say it, but it's not a punishment. It's just someone showing you, for example, if you showing you the cracks in your home. If you don't see them now, it will tear apart later. So now is the time to take the mortar and start filling in the cracks. So the questions are you showing up for yourself? Are you doing everything with integrity? Are you setting your boundaries clear? And are you building step by step, really slow, and a life of integrity here? You will become stronger when you come out of it, grounded. Things that needed to live your life will live your life in this time period, but it will be slow and it will be a process, and maybe sometimes you won't agree with it, but in the end it will be actually for the better good of you and other people. But this is the one placement where you cannot wing it. You cannot not show up and put in the work. Every day you need to put your vest on and go to work, go to crafting, stone by stone, Capricorn wise, one after the other, rebuilding what's been tearing apart over the past 2.5 years. Usually that's how long a transit is. So if it's your internal world that's tearing apart, you need to build, what have I not done for myself? If it's your external job wise, what have I not been doing to prove my worth in a job situation? If it's your health, what have I not been doing for myself? Where have I not been putting boundaries? Yeah, so it's a type of soul university. Sometimes it comes to tear down, sometimes it comes to build up while you work alongside it. But at the end, the constructions that's left, it's a lot stronger and more powerful than what you had before. So any Aquarius, Pisces, or Aries, because this is moving into Aries and we had a preview in summer. If any of you are Aries here or any Aries moons, and so you had the preview in summer, you start feeling it. There's 2 years coming of that, starting with February. So now it's a time to rebuild and kind of reevaluate what you wanted to build in summer. So any of this placement, that's my advice for you. It might seem the toughest period of your life, but building it stone by stone, at the end you'll come out with a lot better construction for your life, in more integrity, in a lot more safer grounds, and on a clean slate to start with. So it might seem hard, overwhelming, but it's for the greater good, and this is what's happening at the moment if you're having this transit. Pluto transits, as I mentioned, the ones that are now at the moment being impacted by it are mostly Aquarius, and this is gonna be for 19 more years, so it's good to deal with it going through it. Of course, when I talk about Pluto transit, you need to think that it will mostly impact you when it's right over your placement, so right over your sun, your moon, your rising, 10 degrees there and back, you can still feel it, but then you won't be feeling it for the whole duration unless you have very many planets in Aquarius. And Capricorn can talk about this because Capricorns were the ones that have been dealing with this since 2008 until very recently, end of last year, when it fully left their sign. So I would say Pluto is a bit different than Capricorn. Pluto is called the Lord of the Underworld. This is the governing planet of Scorpio, and this is why Scorpio get the reputation of scary, because Saturn deals with structure while Pluto deals with power. But it's not the outside power only, it's the hidden inner power that comes actually from the subconscious, that comes actually from the dark side that each one of us has within us. So it's not about learning discipline, it's about surrendering control. It's a time where if Saturn teaches you to take the reins in your conscious world and start putting in conscious work, this is a time where Pluto is working on your subconscious. So it might be a lot harder to identify what's going on with you. It might be a lot harder for you to actually work with it and let go of ego masks, attachment, old emotional patterns. You might even rebel against it, and actually your behavior becomes more aggressive. You're more like, your inner demons come to the surface, and if you don't know about the Pluto transits or letting it go or purifying it, you're gonna let those demons out and you're going to attract back the same type of energy. So you might get yourself into trouble, or you might have, this type of constant irritation, or, you don't even know what gets into you. You just get so angry, or you get so sad, or kind of possessed by a feeling that you cannot shake. And it can be obsessive, it can be power struggle, endings, birth, rebirth, but it's all happening at an unconscious level. So this is my plea to Aquarius, I trust in you guys because you are a very evolved sign, but it's my plea to actually let this do the work on you in the best way, This means for you to surrender control. Almost always, I've been thinking about what I can suggest to someone with a Pluto transit, like when it actually goes over you. Almost always, the only thing that you can do is tap into your spirituality. Maybe religion, meditation. You just need to tap into that higher power that helps you manage that inner darkness in a way. Because if you let the light in, if you let the higher power in, that power, that inner darkness does not take over. It is directed towards what it wants to do anyways. So clarify, sort things in your life, let them go without you doing the inner fight, which could take a lot longer. It's like you are poisoned and you're looking for the solution to pull the poison out. You can try to do it yourself, just not doing anything and fighting with it, or you can let the light in, you can let the solution in that helps clarify it, and then that poison gets released. In any ways, the poison will get released from your system, and this is what this Pluto transit is. It's an intense awakening of the unconscious. You might start feeling a lot more things around you, from people, from spirits, from everything. You might still feel a lot more jealousy, desire, grief, rage. But when Pluto has done the work on it, it's like what happens to a diamond, you know, like the diamond gets under this pressure and when it comes out as a diamond. So that's what Pluto does on your subconscious mind. It's pure alchemy. You need to let things go, things die, things shake away from your innermost darkness in order for your light to be able to shine through. So you can do this with the help of spirituality by letting more light in, which helps you purify this earlier, or you can do it the hard way through fighting through it all. But my advice for anyone with a lot of Aquarius planets is to let the light in to help you through this. You're gonna come out stronger, you're gonna come out a lot more evolved spiritually, internally, a lot more powerful. You're gonna be someone that's not scared of anything. Look at what happened, I don't know, to Sagittarius before and then Capricorns after they went through their hardest times. They came out a lot stronger people that are ready to face the world. And while doing this, try to think of the end product where you're gonna come out a more enlightened person through this. So why not start working on that right now? Why not start working on letting more light in to support you and not letting yourself being taken over by this subconscious inner drive that sometimes leads towards darkness. Don't fight it, work with it, but work with it in a conscious, connected way with the universe, and the results are totally different. That's my advice for the Pluto transits. This is anyone with Aquarius at the moment, so Aquarius rising, Aquarius moon, Aquarius sun. Yeah, so just dig deep, but also connect it up, and then you will be able to navigate this and come out as the true, powerful, evolved being that you are supposed to be at the end of this. And Black Moon Lilith transits. These are way smaller. They usually last about 9 months, less than a year. And they are not so used in the Western world. Where I come from, in Romania, people usually always talked about Black Moon Lilith transits because weird things will tend to happen around those times, like bad luck type of things. If you look into the dictionary, what they say that Black Moon Lilith is, it's not a planet but a lunar point, the furthest distance of the moon from Earth, and it represents the untamed feminine, the part of us that refuses to be silenced and controlled. I, in my opinion, call this the small Pluto transit. It's a wake-up call. It awakens instinct, truth, sexuality, creativity, sovereignty. So it kind of has the mini role of what Pluto also does, although Pluto does it on a greater scale. But also like Pluto, I think people underestimate what it can bring through this time. So it usually brings something out of the blue. It can even be sickness. It can even be, you know, like an unfortunate event that comes out of nowhere. So my Scorpio boyfriend had this and it was absolutely not his fault, but something came out of nowhere and it impacted his life so much this summer. And it's not tameable. It's something that's happening similar to Pluto in order to wake you up and put you on the right path and make you deal with your inner rejected sides, your inner subconscious rejected sides. If you were misunderstood in one area, this is the time to free that up, but not in a rebellious way necessarily. I don't think that's the way to go about it. I think it's a time where if things happen to you that you cannot explain and you don't know why these bad things are happening, or sometimes maybe bad things are not happening, but you are the one that's restless and you're creating situations, or like, let's say, I don't know, for example, you go ahead and you cheat on someone or you do something, and it's not a very Saturnian type of transit where you think about it too much. You just notice that this is destroying my life, why am I doing this? The same as with Pluto, this is the time for you to understand, I had a suppressed, darker side in me for so long that I need to free now up. And I need to free it up for the greater good. Again, if something bad is happening, this means that I wasn't true to my subconscious for a lot of time, and now I'm freeing up a side of me, and it might come out kicking and screaming, or I might be able to funnel it and let it out in a more productive way. Also here, I recommend that you work with your subconscious mind. It can be through spirituality. It's not as big scale as Pluto, so it can just be through connections with people. It could be through intimacy. It can be through, heart-to-heart psychologists, conversations, or conversations with friends. But you need to explore what's underneath it all. So if something comes up to the surface and you don't like what's happening there, this tells you something about what's going on inside you that hasn't been healed and wants to come out. So anything in terms of especially instinct, truth, sexual or creativity, sovereignty that needs to come out of you will come out of you. Just make sure that transition is smooth and you let it out smoothly, and that it doesn't cause too much negative effects in your life. I think the more you realize what you suppress in your life and you want out, the more it doesn't need to come out in a huge flamboyant way that impacts your life negatively. So similar as to Pluto, do the work. I think do the work more, especially now because it's in Scorpio. Do the work for intimacy, do the work through psychotherapy, do the work through spiritual rituals. All of this is doing the work, especially now if it's for you, Scorpio, until the end of the year. Yeah, and this was Black Moon Lilith. Let's go into the impact of all these three planets at the moment for everyone. So what happens when these energies meet in your life? We talked about what happens directly with the signs. So Saturn builds the container, the reality, the structure that you need for your life. At the end of it, you'll be left with the best structure that you can have in your life. Pluto will destroy and purify what no longer serves within the structure. And Lilith will reclaim that raw essence of what makes yourself authentic again. So it's radical evolution for all of this, about what's been either neglected with Saturn or suppressed with Pluto and Lilith. And if you want, I've written down a question about what every one of these signs is asking you. Saturn is asking you, are you responsible? Pluto is asking you, are you honest? And Lilith is asking you, are you free? So it's about reclaiming all these free qualities in your life. And when we talk about the impact on society at the moment, I want to talk, especially Pluto is going to be there for almost 20 years, so it's impacting all of us. And if you think of the past years where Pluto was in Capricorn, Pluto is power, and it's suppressing of power, of what that sign represents. We had the financial crisis in 2008, which kind of came as a suppression, but it was also a truth coming out about the financial system and about us freeing ourselves from it. And towards the end of Pluto in Capricorn, actually a lot more people had learned how to make money for themselves, especially in that pandemic era. That's what came out. People were learning how to make more money with less of the structures that were before and with newer structures. So in the end, it freed us all from those financial shackles, but at the same time, it felt oppressive at that point because that's how Pluto feels. And the same is happening now with technology, because Aquarius is the people and it's technology. So it feels like AI is gonna take my job. I'm being surveilled from all sides. They are gonna know everything about me and all of this. So it feels we're in the beginning where the financial crisis started for Capricorn. This is where we're now with Aquarius, and it feels like, oh, only bad things are gonna happen. But in the end, as Pluto freed the way and showed honesty for the financial systems, this is what's gonna happen with technology and with population control in the end. By the end of it, that technology that we're fearing now will have had a major impactful role in healing us and in bringing honesty. I know it doesn't seem that way now, but that's the role of it. And population control will be all, I think by the time Pluto is ready to go into Pisces, sovereignty over ourselves will be at the highest that it's ever been. Although it seems like exactly the opposite now. But that's how the story always ended. That's when Pluto goes 20 years over a sign and does its work, and it feels like, my God, I'm going through it. I'm never gonna get out of it in that sector of life. And at the end, actually, it brings you further. So this is gonna happen with Pluto in Aquarius for the next 20 years. It's hard to say it in detail because Pluto is so unpredictable, Aquarius is so unpredictable. So the world is changing how we've never seen it changing before. But in the end, all that we're fearing now will actually be way better solved for us by the end of Pluto in Aquarius. For Saturn, because it's still in Pisces, these are the last few months, and Neptune has just gone back, which I love Neptune in Pisces as a Pisces. So until February, you still have Saturn there. It's the last time now for a while, for 30 years. And it feels fitting because this week we have a lot of water energy. And this is not something we're gonna have next year or the following years. This is kind of end of an era. And what Saturn wants to consolidate now, your belief, Pisces is faith, Pisces is the good in humanity. So before we move into an all moving, fast, accelerating world where most of the planets will be in masculine signs, so air and fire, so no one will stop to think anymore, no one will stop to feel so much or go into compassion so much as it was with earth and water. So things will just move along very fast. This is the time to set the structures for your belief system, for your human values, for your compassionate values. This is the time where you choose your divine connection. This is the time, I don't like saying this, but you kind of prepare to go into battle and you say the prayer before, and that prayer is what protects you. It sounds a bit dramatic, but that's how fast things will move. And this is your recollection moment where you can connect divinely and where you should be using this to set your belief and set what you want to pray for and what you want to attract in the coming years where things will start moving fast. What your connection and your belief to the divinity is and how you are gonna navigate what's coming in the next years, especially with Neptune there. So set the strong foundation of your beliefs, set the strong foundation of your compassion, of your humanitarian, idealistic beliefs for humanity, and take them into the fast-moving world that we're heading towards. I think that's what Saturn is about now. And lastly, but not least, I think we have Lilith until December in Scorpio, then it's moving into Sagittarius, but it's a good introspective period. This is the time to really let your innermost desires out. Lilith, I think it's ideal in Scorpio because you can release any repressed emotions, sexuality, creativity, rage, anything that's, dragging you down. Now is the time to release it and clear it off while you are building that spiritual connection. So it's a purifying time where things are still supported by the water signs, help us clear our soul, our body, our emotions ahead of times that are a lot more faster. And I think this is the biggest purification that Lilith can give you, to dare to be yourself and free your innermost desires through this time. So these are my predictions, overview about what Lilith, Saturn and Pluto are doing at the moment for everyone. If you want to discuss more in detail about your particular chart, and if you're going through one of these transits, write me a message down below, or write me a message at ariesmoongirl@gmail.com, and I can come back with a bit of an analysis of what's going on in your particular chart. But I hope this helps you in some way. If you're going through one of these transits, understand what's going on and how to navigate it and why it's going on and what the benefits would be. Because sometimes if you don't know what's on the other side, it just feels like hard work for nothing, and it just feels overwhelming and really hard. But if you know that these planets also have an intention for our greater good, and it's all not bad, it's just to free things up and build a better life for yourself, then you start seeing these transits in a way better light. Until next time, I'm Aries Moon Girl. I care about the stars, but most of all I care about you, and this is why I do these videos. Write a comment down below if you have any of these transits. Write a comment if you want me to look at your chart and tell you a bit more about it. And I have some upcoming things also about how to work through trauma on top of the astrological part, because I've been dwelling a lot into this also. And I'll be soon communicating this on this channel as well. But I feel that I'm gonna start slowly talking, besides just love connections and so, which are very important and very gracious to this life, about people that maybe feel that things aren't right in their life and why this is happening and how you can overcome that. Because I think astrology could be your greatest tool in the hardest of times, and I've been using this for the past year, so I want to start bringing this knowledge also to this channel as well. Thank you so much, and see you next time. Bye.